Hey everyone, it's Rygar here from Rygar Tech. Welcome to the next video in our learning how to use Google Docs series. So if you want to open up your document from last time, so if you don't know how to do that, then if you need to sign in to Google. You go to the Google Apps icon up the top here. So in the top right, you'll see the Google Apps icon. Click on that, click on Drive. That'll take you to your Google Drive, and then you can double click your document in your Google Drive folder, and that will then open that up. What we want to do now is we're going to look at some things to help us with our text layout in this particular episode. So I'll go over what we're going to cover, and that will tell you if you need to watch this video, or maybe you need to skip it because you already know this kind of stuff. So we're going to look at how to create text styles to make it easier for us to make changes to the different our different styles and headings and things in the document. So it makes, especially when you've got a large document, lots of different styles, and you want to make changes to things, it makes it really, really easy for you. So we're going to look at how to do that, how to set up the styles. We'll see the benefits of using styles. We'll look at line spacing and how to add custom line spacing to your document, and some of the line spacing options that are available in Google Docs as well. Alright, so at the moment, the way we've set up, we haven't used any styles in the document. So if I want to change how the heading looks, so let's say I want the headings to actually be a different font. So let's choose Impact just to make it quite different. And I want it to be a different color. Choose that color. Sweet, and maybe I want it to be italicized, so we'll choose that. Sweet. So let's say I want to make all of the headings that particular style. The only problem is, without having created any styles, I would have to do each one individually, right? Change it to Impact, change it to italics, change the color to that color. Oh, and that one's not quite the correct color either, is it? So it's quite hard to get the correct one sometimes. So that's a bit of annoying, having to do that for every single one. So this is where text styles come in. Okay, so if you highlight, so if you've already got your heading or whatever piece of text is in the format that you want, and you want to change the style of it, you'll notice that we have a format menu up here. So we choose the format menu, and then you can see we've got an option called paragraph styles. So it's got a bunch of predefined styles already for you. So if you were to go to paragraph styles and choose normal text, what that does is it just applies the normal text to that. And because everything is based on the normal text, it doesn't actually affect any changes you've made to that. So that's perfectly fine. So you can do it through the format menu through paragraph styles, or you can choose the actual styles option right here in the toolbar, which is slightly easier. So if we change it to title, you notice, oh, that was in the wrong place, I didn't highlight that, so let's highlight that. If we change that to title, you notice it comes in with the built-in title style. Now remember, everything is based off your normal text style. Okay, so we made everything in the Comforter font, so the whole document is in Comforter, but when you change it to the title, it's based off your normal text, which is slightly different. Okay, that has a slightly different font. So what we want to do is make all of our text in the Comforter style. So let's choose this line here. So choose one of the lines in your document which is in the Comforter font. Then go to our text style setting, go to normal text, and instead of going apply normal text, we want update normal text to match what we've selected. So it says change the normal text style to match the formatting of the thing that we've highlighted. So if you do that, it will change everything into that particular style now. Okay, and then all of your headings, all of your titles will be based on that particular font. So that's a good way of making sure that everything is in the same font, but we can still have different different font sizes and things. Alright, so now we can choose our heading here, and then go to the text styles option. So let's say that this is our first heading, so we want to update that heading to match that particular heading that we've got there. So choose that. So now all heading 1s that we set will be this particular style. So why don't you go through and make sure that you've changed your normal text style to our Comforter font or whatever font you've chosen, and then set heading 1 to whatever style you've chosen for your first heading. Oh, and I forgot to put technical skills back in here that I removed from the previous video. Cool, so what we want to do now is just go through and make every one of these headings into the heading style, because at the moment they're still the normal style. So choose that, go to heading 1, just click on that and it'll change it. Choose that, click on heading 1 and it'll change it. So why don't you go through and change each one of your headings in your document to your heading 1 style, then come back to the video. Alright, so you can see it makes it much easier by just making using the style. This makes it very fast to set up. Cool, especially if you've got multiple changes that you've made to the font and the colors and so on. So there we go. So all of our headings are now in that particular style. Now you'll notice on the left hand side you've got your document map. So when you add headings and things, it adds it in here. So if you were to click on one of these, it'll take you to that position in your document. So that's quite a cool feature. So it means you can quickly get around your document if it's quite a few pages long, which is really useful. Right, so now that we've set up all the headings in that particular style, now you'll see the benefit of using a style instead of just doing it manually. So let's say that I don't really want to use italics. I want to turn that off. In fact, I don't really like that font. I want a different font. So let's change it to, and let's try Oswald. So again, why don't you, let me go through it first and then you can do it yourself. So now I want to make all my headings into this particular style. So instead of having to change each one manually, if you go to the style setting, go to heading 1 and then go update heading 1 to match our new version. If you click on that, everything else changes to match what you've just chosen, which is really awesome, right? So why don't you try and do that? So change one of your headings to make it different, change the heading 1 style to match what you've chosen, and that will make all of your headings that particular thing. So play around with that, make sure you understand how that works, and then come back to the video. Alright, welcome back. Remember, you can use the undo command to undo things if anything went wrong. So don't worry about if things go wrong. You can always restart again from scratch as well. It's not a problem. Okay, so there we go. That's why we want to have different styles. So you can also have subheadings as well. So let's say that willingness to learn is a subheading. So if we go to the styles command, we can actually go heading 2, and that creates a new heading 2 style. So we want to change this to match what we want. So actually we'll just go undo, and let's say that we want this to be in the same font as the heading. So actually let's make that the heading 1 style, and then we'll just change it. So let's drop the font size down to 14, and let's change the color to a bluey color. Sweet. And then we want to go heading 2, update heading to match. So let's make teamwork a heading 2, and let's make problem solving a heading 2. There we go. So now we've got some subheadings in our document, and you can see your subheadings also appear in your document map over here as well. So why don't you pause the recording and make the personal skills heading 2s in your one, and format them how you want, and make sure that that's working as well. Alright, welcome back to the video. So the next thing we're going to do is the line spacing. So at the moment you can see the lines are pretty close together, so it makes it a little bit difficult to read sometimes. Even though that is the normal line spacing, sometimes you might want to allow a bit more line spacing. So we could do it for the whole document. So we just go Control A and select everything. The line spacing is in the line spacing setting over here. So you click on the line spacing setting, So currently, so let's set it to single. So if we set it to single, you can see that everything is really squashed up together. Sweet. So let's try a different setting. So let's go 1.15, so slightly better. Let's go 1.5, more spaced out. Let's go double, even more spaced out. And if we go back to it and choose custom, you could maybe make it 5 and go apply. And so that sets it a massive space in between. Right, so you can always play around with what you want. Generally, you don't want anything double spaced because it looks really weird. It looks kind of childlike because there's lots of gaps in between. So generally, most people keep it at single line spacing, or 1.5 is not too bad, or 1.15 is okay as well. So let's just keep it on 1.15. Now you'll notice that the headings are straight after the end of the previous text. It would be kind of nice to have a gap in between here, right? So you could manually put a gap by hitting the enter key after each one. But then you have to keep doing that each time, right? So you have to manually put a blank line in between each thing. And then if you wanted more space, you would have to put another enter key to give it more space, or remove to remove one. So that's not the best way of actually doing the spacing between paragraphs. So what we can do, now we don't want to have spacing after each paragraph for every single line. So remember, a single line is still termed as a paragraph because it has a line return at the end of that, which is a special character you can't actually see. So we want to have, at the end of a paragraph like this, I want to have some spacing which is after it, but I don't want to have to put the enter key in here. So this is where the spacing before and after paragraph comes in. So if we highlight this paragraph and we go to line spacing, and then we want to go custom space. So you can choose this one, add space before a paragraph. So if we choose that, notice you get a little gap between the heading and the paragraph. So that's before the paragraph. So that way we don't have to put a return in there. Or you can go add space after, so you can remove the space before the paragraph, and then we can go add space after paragraph, and that gives you a gap between the end of that paragraph and the next heading. So that's quite nice because it's nice to have a bit of demarcation between the previous paragraph and the new one. Now if you want to change the actual amount of line spacing, then we want to do the custom spacing. So we go custom spacing. So you can set the before a paragraph setting. So we could make that 15. Maybe that would be too big. Let's make that 4. And after, we could make maybe 15. Click on apply, and you can see we've got a little bit before and quite a bit afterwards. So again, we can just play around with that setting to get it exactly how we want it to be. Let's make this 25. Sweet, so I want a really nice good gap between that and the next one. So what we want to do is create a style for that. Now don't make it the normal style, because if you make it the normal style, everything will have that line spacing. We only want it for full paragraphs. So you can't, there's no option to create your own particular style. We just have to override one of the previous ones. So even though it's a heading, there's no way around it. We're going to have to make it one of the heading here. If we go to options, yeah, there's no way to actually make a new actual style yourself. So we'll just choose this one, go update style to match. So even though it's going to add it into the document map, we'll just ignore that there. So now if there's another paragraph, is there another paragraph? Not really. So if I wanted to add another paragraph in, let's do something like this. Right, so we can create another paragraph, and then we can just select it, make it a heading 3, and then that gives us the same spacing that we want, because we don't want it for all of these as well, because they're not kind of paragraphs, they're individual lines that we don't want to have that particular line spacing. Alright, so you know how line spacing works. You can just customize that to be how you want it to be, which is really good, and you'll be able to customize all your things that you want to actually do. Sweet. Alright, so just to recap what we did in this video, we looked at how to create, how to change styles to match what we want, how to apply that style to different types of text in your document, how to change the line spacing to give you more space in between paragraphs and so on, and how to use the custom line spacing to give you spacing before and after paragraphs of text and so on. So make sure you've gone through all of those things, you've understood how they work, and then in the next video we'll look at some more things that we can do in Google Docs to build up your skills in using Google Docs to create nice looking documents and so on. Alright, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, you're welcome to give me a thumbs down. If you like my content, then please give me a subscription. It'll help my videos get noticed by the YouTube algorithm, and you'll get notified when there are new tutorial videos and things that I put out eventually. Anyway, hopefully I will catch you in the next video.